This is a review for the Neato Botvac D7. The D7's airflow was measured at 22 CFM. Its suction was measured at 0.16 kPa. In our carpet stress test, the Neato picked up all debris types very well. The D7 has a very wide direct cleaning path, as its brush hole compartment at 10 3/4 inches wide extends almost along the full width of the front of the robot. A single side brush at one end of the robot further extends its overall cleaning path. With such a wide cleaning path, the D7 covers a lot of ground very quickly and efficiently, though it still required multiple passes over the same areas to get a proper cleaning in this test over time. In our carpet deep clean test, the D7 picked up 9 grams of debris after 3 passes over an area of carpet embedded with 30 grams of fine debris. In our hard floor stress test, the D7 once again picked up all debris types very well. Again, we can see its very wide cleaning path, though it once again requires multiple passes to get a proper cleaning in this test over time. The D7 performed very well cleaning the middle section of edges, but struggled cleaning edges close to corners. Here you can see it getting very close to the edge to clean most of it very well. However, things literally take a turn for the worst when the robot rotates into the perpendicular edge. Notice how the robot doesn't get very good pickup as it rotates to the new edge. Now, at first glance, you may be inclined to chalk this up as a limitation of the D7's D shape, but compare its performance in the corner to that of the Roomba S9. Notice how better movement and the Roomba side brush extending further toward the front of the robot allows it to pick up edge debris close to the corner much better. In our robot vacuum crevice test, the D7 did not perform well on default power. It did perform considerably better on maximum power, but even after extensive runtime, it still could not pull much of the debris out of the crevice used for this test. In our human hair pickup test, the D7 picked up all the hair, but most of that hair wasn't pulled into its dustbin. 60 to 70% of the hair it picked up tangled around its side brush and especially around one end of its brush roll, and had to be cleaned off manually. In our pet hair pickup test, the D7 picked up and collected all of the shorter pet hair used for this test in its dustbin. The D7 uses LiDAR to navigate, and we tested its navigation, that is its cleaning efficiency and coverage, in 2 different environments, an empty room and a cluttered room. In our empty room testing, we see the D7's standard cleaning patterns demonstrated very well. In this first trial, in which the robot first maps the room, the robot first moves in horizontal rows and then moves in vertical rows to complete a single cleaning cycle. This crisscross pattern is highly effective for debris pickup, as it involves the robot moving over every area of the room twice and approaching any particular piece of debris in the room from 2 different angles. We only saw this pattern in the first trial though. In subsequent trials, the D7 only moved in horizontal rows. This movement pattern is not as effective for debris pickup as it lacks redundancy and does not involve approaching debris from multiple angles. Cluttered room test results were also a mixed bag. In this first trial, the D7 appears to navigate around all of the obstacles in the room without issue. In the second trial, the D7 first has trouble rotating around this rectangular container. It then awkwardly backs up into and bounces against this corner for a few seconds. It also pulls the chair frame a considerable distance as it tries to clean underneath it, and pushes the charging dock several times from multiple directions. In this third trial, we got an error message trying to start the run, but we were able to restart it, and the D7 didn't appear to have any trouble navigating the course once the run was restarted. We also tested the D7 with the extra care setting activated. It appears this setting keeps the robot from trying to clean in areas where it's likely to bump obstacles. This kept the D7 out of the tight quarters of certain sections of the top of the room and out of the area underneath the chair in the room. The D7 is a mapping robot, and so it comes with many of the features you would expect to come with a mapping robot. The problem is that the app that you use to control these features feels dated and clunky. Then there's also the slew of errors we experienced trying to use the robot in our empty room and cluttered room coverage testing. I mentioned a few earlier, but there are many more. It ranged from messages that the robot's path wasn't clear when it was, to messages that it wasn't properly on its charging base when it was. Overall, the app experience just wasn't very good. Other important specifications and test results we considered for this review are summarized here. Especially note the D7's runtime, bin volume, and noise output, and how those specifications and test results compare to the average for all of the robot vacuums we've tested so far. Lastly, note the robot's diameter and height. These dimensions make the D7 one of the larger robot vacuums we've tested. Moving on to what we like and dislike about this vacuum, first let's talk about what we like. The D7 has great airflow, and it picks up most types of debris very well on both carpets and hard floors. It also deep cleans carpet well for a robot vacuum. We also like the fact that it has a wide cleaning path, which allows it to cover a lot of ground very quickly and efficiently. Lastly, we also like the fact that it comes with a large dustbin. 700 milliliters is a well above average volume for a robot vacuum dustbin. Moving on to what we dislike about the D7, its coverage is very much a mixed bag. In some tests, it got great coverage, navigating very well around even complex obstacles like chair legs, for example. In other tests, it performed poorly, acting very strangely around certain obstacles. Not to mention the fact that often it didn't even want to start runs at all, or it quit runs early. These were errors we simply didn't get with most other robot vacuums we tested in the exact same environments under the exact same testing conditions. Another major negative is the app used to control the D7. It just isn't easy to use, and at times can even be frustrating to use. Finally, the D7 is also one of the louder robot vacuums we tested. Even on its quietest setting, it's still substantially louder than most other robot vacuums we tested. In terms of general recommendations, we cannot recommend the D7 because of the negatives we just listed. The D7 is a mapping robot, and so it comes with a mapping robot price tag. The problem is that the mapping experience using this robot just isn't very good. Using the Neato app isn't a great experience, but more importantly, using the robot itself isn't a great experience. If only because it gives a lot of errors, many more than most other robot vacuums we tested. And this is unacceptable for a robot vacuum at its price point. See the description of this video for a link to the latest updated list of all of the robot vacuums we do recommend, and thank you for watching.